Hello everyone, good morning. Last class in training in sport, first component strength we discussed about it, and the second component is endurance. Now we discuss about endurance. Endurance as the result of physiological capacity of the individual to sustain a movement over a period of time, or endurance as the ability to resist fatigue. In all sports activities, endurance is directly or indirectly of high importance. It is usually measured by the number of repetitions. For example, if you are doing sit ups for a 1 minute, how many repetitions you are doing it, how many sit ups you are doing it, that's depend on your strength, stomach endurance. Types of endurance, there are two types of endurance. One is according to the nature activity and according to the duration of activity. According to the nature activity, there is three types of endurance: basic endurance, general endurance, and special endurance. The first one is basic endurance. Basic endurance is also called as aerobic endurance, where all the movements are involved, like running, jumping, walking, swimming, for a period of time. For a period of time of 30 minutes, if you do continuously, it's called as a basic endurance. Perform movements in which large number of body muscles are involved in basic endurance. Next one is general endurance. General endurance, these activities may be aerobic or non-aerobic in the nature. These activities may be a low or high intensity, but for a longer duration. The duration is much shorter than required for a basic endurance activity. Sports persons to perform different types of activities for a longer duration without getting tired. We'll do the activities slowly for a longer period, the shorter than the basic endurance. That's called as general endurance. The third one is specific endurance. The word specific, we can say that for a particular activity, for uh, different skills and different sports, we have different endurances. Example, if you take one wrestler, if we each boat you go for 2 minutes, that's 3 rounds for 6 minutes. How much endurance he need? The same time, if we go for a boxer, you need to go for a four rounds. For each round is 2 minutes. That's 8 minutes. You need to fight for against others. So that much endurance is required for specific events, specific movements. Specific endurance is much needed for specific activities. Second one is according to the duration of activity. Duration of activity, it can be defined as a four again: speed endurance, short term endurance, middle term endurance, and long term endurance. Now, first one, speed endurance. In speed endurance, the activity be done by before 45 seconds. That's mean that you need to go faster, you need to use your speed and endurance to finish your activity, your skill or your game within 45 seconds with the same range of speed. That is, we mostly it will used in 400 meters races. Second one is short term endurance. In short term endurance, to overcome the fatigue as an athlete within 45 seconds to 2 minutes. Endurance also depends to a large extent on strength endurance and speed endurance. The endurance needed for 800-meter races is that most suitable example for short-term endurance. 800 meters is going to finish within the 2 minutes. Middle term endurance. Middle term endurance is needed for such sports activities which will finish in 2 to 11 minutes. If you take 1500 meters, it will finish in 10 and 12 minutes. That comes under middle term endurance. Middle term endurance also depends on strength endurance and speed endurance, but also a limit of period. The fourth one is long-term endurance. Long-term endurance is needed in such a sports activities which list from more than 11 minutes. If you go for marathons or like cross countries or 5,000 meters or 10,000 meters, all comes under long term endurance. Long term endurance is needed for all the cross countries. Methods to develop endurance. There are three types of methods to develop endurance as per self-worth: continuous training method, internal training method, and fartlek training method. Continuous training method. Continuous training is one of the best method for improving endurance. We call continuous training. That means there is no break is given in this training. In this method, exercise or skill is performed for a longer duration without any break. In this method, at intensity remains low because the exercise is done for a longer period. Cross country races is the best example for continuous method. In this method, the rate of heartbeat remains in between 140 to 160 beats per minute. The total duration of exercise should not be less than 30 minutes while taking the training of continuous training method. Advantages of continuous training method: it increase glucose in muscles and liver. It increase the number and size of mitochondria. It is also increase the efficiency of heart lungs. It makes the individual self disciplined and self confident while doing the activities. Second one is interval training method. In continuous training method, we said there is no break given while taking the training or while doing the exercise. But in interval training method, we'll get the break in between while doing the activities. We'll call it as a effort and recovery. First you keep the effort and then recover for a minute. It can be developed through the training. In this in this training, recovery period can be adjusted according to the athlete, according to the skill performed, according to the load of the training. It may be for each athlete can't be recover within 30 seconds or 1 minute. It is depend on athlete's strength and athlete's performance. It will take some people it will take 2 minutes, some people it take 1 minute. That's depend on the athlete. According to the athlete's performance, we can give the recovery time for activities. What the process of doing this interval training method? Example, if you go for a 400-meter track, 400-meter race with 80% speed, we need to do for 80% speed of 400-meter. That means you need a lot of endurance while doing the 400-meter. 400-meter will be finished within 45 seconds. Walking or jogging until his heart rate comes down till 120 to 140 approximately. That is a recovery time for him. 400-meter race with 800 speed, the repetition depend upon the experience or capacity of the athlete. Recovery period and workout can be adjusted according to the level of athlete. If athlete able to do a 400 meters repetition 5 times or 6 times, we can make it him by giving a very less recovery time. Practice session will make them do 400 meters minimum 10 times. While competing, you do only for 1 time. Advantages of interval training method is more workout can be performed in a short duration. It is a more beneficial for respiratory and circulatory systems. The progress of the athlete can be measured easily. It gives a better result in a short time. It means an athlete achieves his performance in a short time. Athlete gets a fair judgment easily. Patience can be increased in the athletes. Third one is fartlek training method. Fartlek training method is a combination of continuation and internal training methods. The fartlek training method doesn't need a ground, it doesn't need a equipment anywhere. For continuous training method and internal training method, we need a ground, and all the athletes are observed by the coach or instructor in front of him. All should do all the activities in front of him. Coming to the fartlek training method, you can use anything like a rivers, riverside, forest, graze grounds, on roads, wherever you want, hillsides, you can do the fartlek training. It is self confidence, self discipline role for each and every athlete. How it will be, it process of training in um, fartlek training method. While you doing the activity, when doing the training, your heartbeat between be 140 to 180 per minute. Duration of training is minimum of 45 minutes. 45 minutes you need to do it continuously and with the heartbeat of 140 to 180. Warm up, jogging, slow running for a 5 to 10 minutes. You can do a warm up while starting off fartlek training. Whichever the training will start with stretching and low intensity to high. We'll go with a low intensity to high intensity exercise. The same way in fartlek training method, for 5 to 10 minutes we'll go for a slow running, jogging, warm up and whatever you do for 10 minutes. And steady hard speed will go for a 1.5 kilometers to 2.5 kilometers to go increase your speed. You are increasing speed here to maintain your endurance too. Recovery rapid walking for a last at least 5 minutes again. After 2 kilometers, 1.5 to 2.5 kilometers of speed, you can go for 5 minutes walk. But that is called as a recovery period, which we talk about in internal training method. But it's continuation of walk, not standing it. Full speed uphill for a 175 to 200 meter. In roadside we can see the uphills and downhills. In uphill we need to go for a 200 meters with maximum speed, and we can go for a again recovery period as 1 minute for walking, not by standing it. This comes under fartlek training method. The advantages of fartlek training method. Advantage of fartlek training method. It is flexible in nature. If you want to do anywhere, you can do it. It's not compulsory to come to the ground and do it. A number of athletes take part of training in simultaneously. In a ground, we can't make a huge competition. Huge numbers we can't accommodate. With limited numbers, 10 to 15 or 25, we can go with the 25 numbers, we can go for a training, but not more than that. But coming to the fartlek training, you can go for 100 numbers at same time, like a cross country type. You can do it. No equipment is required here. It is easily adapted to the athlete's need. Due to sprinting intervals, it makes the body versatile. This is about endurance. Thank you all.